Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special secured podcast from Intersec Dubai 2026, where I interview more than 20 leaders shaping the security market across the Middle East on the show floor. In this episode, I sit down with Matt Bennett from Alert Enterprise, and my key takeaway is that the next phase of access control is about democratizing identity and mobile credentials by reducing cost, complexity, and friction. I think you'll enjoy this conversation and everything else we get into. And without further ado, here's Matt.
Hey everyone, Matt Bennett with Alert Enterprise. So I lead our mobile access business and our strategic partnerships. I've previously spent time in companies like HID and Genetec. I've been in this industry for about 13 years now, seen the good, the bad, the ugly, the evolution. And I gotta say, I don't think I've ever been more optimistic about where our industry is as I am the last few years. I really enjoy the direction our industry is heading.
Oh, I appreciate it. We're going to get into that. But before you do that, since it's January, let's reflect a little bit. So talk to me about sort of what stood out for you in 2025.
I think there's a few big picture themes, and there's some things that we've repivoted the business to adapt in 2026. So 2025 for us was really about building an identity in the access control space. So we've been well known. This is an 18-year-old business. We've been around for quite a while. We're well known for our identity orchestration, our access management. We're not well known as a mobile credential provider. For me, making black boxes go beep is table stakes. That's not interesting anymore. What I'm really focused around is democratization of identity and making sure that identity propagates and free flows through systems. So there's been a lot of brand building. There's been a lot of, reputation changing in the industry that 2025 was about. 2026 for us is about execution. It's about really taking some of these big picture themes and trends our customers are asking us for and bringing them to life through new products that we're releasing.
So talk to me about the region here. How important is the Middle East? Where do you see big opportunities, especially around verticals or technology trends?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure everybody said the same thing. The Middle East is a really special, tremendous market with a lot of opportunity. However, it doesn't come without its own set of challenges. This is a market that you need to show up and be present in. And that's an area where I think through 2026, we're going to invest a lot heavier in this region and making sure that we've got boots in the ground out here. But I mean, you look around, you look at the city, you look at the skyscrapers, you look at the cityscape. There is opportunity growing here. There are Western organizations expanding. There's Eastern organizations that are planting their flag here and wanting to expand over into the other half of the world. And we're privileged to be a part of all of that.
Yeah. So in that, the growth side, what friction do you see that you need to overcome in this area?
It's the same story we've been telling for years, hosting. As a cloud provider, one of our biggest challenges is not having in-region, in GCC country hosting. And that's a challenge I think every cloud provider faces in this region. You've got to be present. And that's a challenge that unfortunately we can't solve ourselves. We need our partners at companies like Microsoft and AWS and others to give us the infrastructure that we can then live inside of. So we're watching that market closely and looking to expand our infrastructure footprint to be more regionally relevant in this market.
Yeah. So we talk about the opportunity, the friction there. So here's the question I've been asking people, and without trying to be provocative with the question, but I've noticed the change. So this is my third year coming here, and you can definitely see like first year was like cloud was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Mobile was never going to happen last year. Now you can see shift changing, and you're seeing people coming, but I still feel I can't reconcile. Yes, I see the cranes. I went an hour outside the city, and like it's mind blowing the amount. But does the opportunity that is here equal the desired outcome that people want? Because I feel like people want to come here. Reminds me a bit of like how people felt early days of Vegas, where it's like you couldn't mix between the opportunity that was there and the desired outcome people wanted because they liked going there. So does the hype meet the opportunity, or what is your perspective?
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know that hype is necessarily the word that I would use to describe it. This is a mature market. What's funny is most large organizations actually classify this as an emerging market.
I love that you're saying that.
And I think that's antithetically wrong. I mean, there is nothing emerging about where we are sitting right now in this region that we're in. But it comes with its own baggage. It comes with its own legacy mindsets and ways of thinking that I think need to be challenged and reframed. Specifically, going back to that hosting topic, going back to the idea of my data must remain sovereign inside of my region. That's a really nice sentiment to have. I don't know that that's the way the rest of the world works. So, but it's hard. Like, we're not going to come in, we're not arrogant enough to come into a market and think that we're going to change the way that people think about the sovereignty of their data. But I do want to quietly try to challenge that premise and that way of thinking as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, no, it's funny. There's multiple conversations I've had today around the idea of like, is this truly an emerging market? I had it early this morning, this afternoon, and now again. So it's clearly something. So
I dare somebody to look outside and tell me this is an emerging market.
I just think maybe it's people's own perspective of where they sit with things to where they view it that way. But I think yes, if you spend more time here, you realize it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So if you were to take a look at the different technologies like biometrics, mobile, cloud, AI, post quantum, standards like Aliro, and I'm probably missing some over the next 3 to 5 years, which one do you think has the most potential impact?
I think there's two answers. There's one that's relevant to our business, and there's one that's less relevant to our business. And
Okay.
they both, I think, have a place in being answered here. I think biometrics, if I were to rub my crystal ball and pick my modality that's going to win, I think biometrics truly is going to be the winner in all of this. I think mobile is a subset of that. While we don't have a direct play in the biometrics market today, we're not idly sitting by and watching. We're figuring out how do we make biometrics relevant inside our platform. But I think when we drill this down into what's more relevant to the Middle East market, I think there's a tremendous wave of demand for it right now, but there's two barriers to entry: cost and complexity. And this is a very price sensitive market, regardless of how forward thinking and progressive it may look in Dubai. This is a very price sensitive market. And so we are directly pivoting our business to try to democratize the wallet experience for a market, a geography, a vertical, and a market subset that doesn't really have access to it today. So I think that's a direct product-driven action that we're taking to stay relevant in the Middle East market.
Well said. So if you take a look at 2026, what are you most excited about? I won't ask you for a prediction, but if you had to take a look out to how you think things are going to end, if we were to sit here in 2027,
Yeah.
what are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to take a chance to be a little selfish and drill this back into our business. And I think what I'm really excited about is really leaning into the idea of solution enablement rather than solution providing. I don't need to be the front-facing, forward-facing brand on these products. I think there is enough players who want to enter this market who are willing to buy their way to the front of the line, who want access to the easy button. And that's exactly what we're building and developing internally. Is we're building that API-driven, forward-thinking platform that allows others to integrate, brand it as their own, take it to market as the Acme offering. I don't care about the brand representation. What I care about is bringing Wallet to a market and a segment of the market that has no ability to really operationalize it today.
All right.
So I think if I do things right, I think we're going to be talking again in a year about how successful that investment is that we're making in that bet that we're hedging right now.
Well, that's definitely different than where. So let me ask you, if there's one thing that you hope doesn't happen over this next coming year, what would that be?
A messy standards war. I am all for emerging standards. I mean, if anybody follows me, you know that I'm very vocal about standards. I'm not willing to take a dog in the fight yet, but I do want to see. I'm not naive enough to think there's going to be one standard that rules us all, one credential technology, and everything else dies outside of it. But I do think there needs to be some significant movement and some barriers broken down this year in the standards world, whether we're looking at Leaf, whether we're looking at Aliro, whether we're looking at some combination of all of those things together. We have got to get out of our own little fiefdoms and all think about where does this industry need to be 10 years from now? And that has to be interoperability.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, what you're saying is I do think the industry needs to mature in more in the way that it acts, talks, coordinates, works together.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to find out more information, alertenterprise.com.
Alertenterprise.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love nothing more than to have a conversation about what the crystal ball looks like for you as well.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Matt. It's always good to catch up.
Awesome.
I'm glad this worked out. So it's always good to see you here in a market that you've spent time in and do understand and see. So I appreciate you making time to do this.
Absolutely. Let's meet a little closer home next time, though.
Maybe we probably should do that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate it.
Thank you.